Iran conflict based on reports from the White House. Pro-Palestine activists have breached a UK air-base security and vandalizing a military plane in the protest against Gaza war. In the entertainment news, Samini has condemned political spin on GTA office visit and addressed rumors for the first time. You can watch the live coverage and follow us on Facebook at Big Family Radio, YouTube and TikTok at Big Family Radio and Big Family TV. You can as well download our radio app on the Google Play Store on Android and App Store on iOS. Let's go for a quick commercial break, and when we are back, I would give you the details of these stories and more.
Admission, admission, admission. Are you looking for a computer institution with a serene atmosphere in equipping you with the ability to deepen your understanding and in-depth knowledge in computerization? Then the answer is Big Family Multimedia Institute. Our dedicated and experienced teachers are ready to provide personal attention, support, and help you bring your fusion to bear. We are located at Amasama Dobrogono, Upper Class Junction, and Santa Maria Family and Friend. For more information, contact
0555 20 80 56
0540
Nana President
188. Website bfmnetworks.com. Email info@bfmnetwork.com. Other affiliates include Center for Trade, Big Family TV, Big Family News, Big Family Radio, Big Family Event, Big Family Multimedia Institute, KabaraInfo.com, Trustees, Okman Motors, Soko Mall, ABK TV Ghana. Enroll now and experience the difference.
You are all that matters.
You're welcome back. My name is Esther Kusiak Bobli, and now the details of the story, starting with the local stories. Kwekuti Joseph Nelson, the Western Regional Minister, has appealed to traditional leaders across the region to put an end to chieftaincy disputes in order to foster lasting peace and drive development in their communities. Speaking at a recent gathering of chiefs and stakeholders, he emphasized that ongoing conflicts over traditional leadership positions not only disrupt social harmony, but also hinder progress and the effective delivery of government projects. He urged chiefs to work together to resolve any lingering disagreement through dialogue and consensus building, stressing that unity among traditional authorities is essential for the well-being of the people they serve. There is no room for division if we want to see real development and peace in our communities, he said. Minister Nelson reaffirmed the government's commitment to supporting traditional institutions, but reminded them that their cooperation is critical to creating an environment where businesses can thrive and infrastructure can be improved without disruption. He called on all chiefs to prioritize the collective interest of their people over personal or factional interest, adding that peaceful coexistence among traditional rulers is a vital ingredient for regional growth and stability.
Nana President, it is important to note that development thrives in an atmosphere of peace, and where conflicts arise, it impedes the development potential of any region, Western region not excluded. I am particularly worried about the numerous chieftaincy disputes in some traditional areas in the region, and I want to use this platform to plead with Nanano to work through the judicial committees of the traditional councils and to use mechanisms, processes, and any other legal means provided for in the Chieftaincy Act to resolve most of these disputes. Nanano, as a society, disputes will always arise, and the critical issue has to do with how we resolve them. We are all aware that our court processes are not only expensive, it requires tremendous time, hence shifting the attention of Nanano from supporting the development of their respective traditional councils to protracted litigation.
Moving on, Kwekuti Akabuafo, during his vetting as a nominee for the Supreme Court, has issued a strong caution to the public, urging people to exercise greater responsibility in their use of social media. Addressing the vetting committee, he expressed concern over the increasing misuse of social media platforms to spread misinformation, defame individuals, and stir unnecessary tensions in society. He emphasized that while freedom of expression is a fundamental right, it must be balanced with a sense of responsibility and respect for others' reputation. According to Justice Akabuafo, the reckless circulation of unverified information and personal attacks on social media can damage lives and erode public trust in important institutions, including the judiciary. He called on Ghanaians, especially the youth, to verify facts before sharing posts and to use social media as a tool for constructive dialogue rather than a weapon for character assassination. His remarks highlighted his commitment to upholding the rule of law and protecting the integrity of public discourse as he seeks to assume a role on the nation's highest court.
Mr. Chair, the Venerable Justice, a well-known justice known to everybody who has studied the law, the name just escaped me, from Britain, and I'm sure by saying Venerable all of us remember him. In the case of British Steel Corporation versus Granada, said Lord Denning said, freedom. If you want to deserve freedom, the press deserving freedom, they must work for it, because free speech is not taken. In Pakenham and North Carolina, Justice Scalia said, acting is on social media. It is like the old style writing in newspapers. Therefore, there must be some guidelines there. So if you go on social media and you use that to abuse somebody, and the person thinks that he's defamed, I think that going to the court will not be gagging anybody. There must be responsibility. People must be responsible on social media. Thank you.
To end the local stories, His Excellency Tong Defa, the Chinese ambassador to Ghana, has candidly stated that completely eradicating illegal mining, widely known in Ghana as galamsey, is an unattainable goal given the complex realities on the ground. Speaking at a recent stakeholder engagement, Ambassador Tong acknowledged the serious environmental damage caused by illegal mining, but argued that the deep-rooted economic and social factors thriving the practice make total elimination unrealistic. Instead, he urged Ghanaian leaders and regulatory agencies to prioritize the development of practical and effective strategies aimed at minimizing the environmental pollution associated with illegal mining activities. He emphasized that tackling river contamination, deforestation, and land degradation requires a balanced approach that combines enforcement with sustainable community solutions. Ambassador Tong further highlighted the importance of providing alternative livelihood opportunities for people who depend on small-scale mining to earn a living. He reiterated China's willingness to support Ghana in strengthening its mining regulations and in tackling the involvement of foreign nationals, including some Chinese citizens, who engage in illegal mining operations. However, he stressed that the primary responsibility rests with Ghanaian authorities to enforce existing laws, protect the environment, and promote responsible mining practices. He concluded by expressing hope that through collaboration and well-designed policies, Ghana can significantly reduce the harmful impact of illegal mining, even if it cannot be entirely eliminated.
We need to view this problem. You know, I understand in this country there are several million people live on the mining. So all the sectors, all government officials, policies, we should work for a long policy how to solve the problem. To eliminate this pollution, to eliminate this pollution on the soil, on the rain, waterways, on the forests. We should find a way to solve these problems. I think in this country, to my understanding, you can never eliminate those small minings. If you use small minings, there will always have illegalities involved in it.
Before we move on to the international news, you can continue watching the live coverage on Big Family Radio, on Facebook at Big Family Radio and Instagram, YouTube and TikTok at Big Family Radio and Big Family TV. Now moving on to the international news. MSNBC senior contributing editor Michelle Norris, has offered a thoughtful reflection on the historical significance of Juneteenth, highlighting its enduring relevance in the context of current social and political challenges in the United States. She drew a striking parallel between the original fight for freedom commemorated by Juneteenth and what she described as the growing trend of civil rights being eroded across the country. Norris emphasized that this year's observance of Juneteenth should not just be a symbolic celebration, but an opportunity for Americans to pause and deeply consider the true meaning of freedom. Particularly, it is articulated in the nation's constitution. She urged people to use this moment to examine whether the rights and liberties promised are genuinely accessible to all citizens in today's America, and to reflect on the ongoing work required to protect and expand those freedoms for future generations.
Hello, good people. I'm Michelle Norris, a senior contributing editor from MSNBC, and I want to say happy Juneteenth. It's the day near the summer solstice when we commemorate the end of slavery in America, but also take time to think about how freedom should never be taken for granted.
Big Family
But
Radio.
at a time when so many of our freedoms are being eroded or eradicated altogether, this national holiday should be a time for celebration and contemplation. You will be forgiven if you are a little bit fuzzy on the history of Juneteenth. It's been celebrated in Black communities for centuries, but it only became a federal holiday in 2021. Juneteenth is a mashup of June and 19th because on June 19th, 1865, Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas to announce that the more than 250,000 enslaved people in that state were free. Information that got to them 2.5 years after President Lincoln had signed the Emancipation Proclamation following the end of the Civil War. They had continued to be held in bondage by slave owners who had ignored the proclamation that those enslaved in Confederate states shall be, quote, henceforth and forever free. Imagine discovering that you were suddenly free and belatedly free, that your freedom had been denied to you for more than 2 years. There was no doubt anger, but Black Americans at that time took to the streets with great jubilation. They held events, they sang praise songs, and those celebrations spread beyond Galveston to other cities and then outside of the state of Texas, and it became an annual event and eventually a federal holiday. But this year, as I think about how easily freedom can be snatched from Americans by their own elected leaders, people they should be able to trust that they will follow the rights and the freedoms spelled out in our Constitution. It is worth noting how in the earliest years, the Juneteenth holiday was used by the federal government as an instrument of education and self-determination. Let me explain. The economy in Confederate states was highly dependent on all that free labor because of slavery. Confederate states were not happy about losing all that free labor, so in some cases they used various legislative measures to blunt the impact of the 13th Amendment that abolished slavery by passing a litany of very restrictive laws. In some cases, Black people could not get jobs without also getting permission from their former enslaver. They had to enter harsh and punitive contracts if they wanted to farming land that was owned by white men, and for that work, they would earn almost nothing. In some cases, they could not own firearms. They could not meet in groups. They could not serve in juries. And vagrancy laws were introduced in several places to ensnare newly freed slaves who had not yet found work. They would be swept up in large dragnets on minor charges, and then they were jailed and forced to work off their vagrancy offenses through free labor in the prison system. Essentially, slavery by another name. Buoyed by the victory in the Civil War, a group of Northern congressmen wrote and passed the 14th Amendment, which, among other things, held that no state should, quote, deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Due process, words we're hearing a lot right now. The 14th Amendment also held that states should provide equal protection under the law.
You are
to explain those new rights, including new voting rights, the federal government encouraged those early annual Juneteenth celebrations as a vehicle for educating Black Americans about the America they had just inherited. In this moment, That sounds like a good idea, because we should all be thinking about the America we are inheriting right now. The federal government is not going to use this holiday to educate people, but it's time to make sure that you figure out how to educate yourself. Progress is a train that only moves forward if we put in the effort toward understanding our history and understanding our rights, and then protecting and enshrining those rights. So on this Juneteenth, let's think about freedom and what freedom really means as spelled out in our Constitution. It's easy to take freedom for granted until our freedoms are snatched away.
Moving on, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt has announced that President Donald Trump will decide within the next 2 weeks whether the United States should become directly involved in the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran. Speaking to reporters during a press briefing, Leavitt conveyed Trump's position by reading a statement from him verbatim. In the message, Trump acknowledged the delicate nature of the situation and hinted at potential diplomatic development, stating, based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks. Leavitt underscored that Trump's decision would weigh both the possibility of renewed talks with Iran and the broader implications for regional stability and U.S. She noted that further consultations with national security advisors and allied leaders are expected as Trump considers the remaining stages. It could pave the way for terminally ill adults to legally seek medical assistance to end their lives under strict conditions.
The ayes to right 314. The noes to left 291. The ayes have it, a lot!
We know that in every hospital and hospice and in people's homes that people are facing their final few moments. What we've done with this huge change, and I appreciate that, is we've given people choice and dignity where they might not otherwise have it. And the other good thing about choice is you don't have to do it. So we've just created that opportunity for anybody who might want it.
Away from that story, pro-Palestine activists have broken through security barriers at a UK military airbase in a dramatic protest against the country's role in the ongoing conflict in Gaza. According to reports, the activists gained access to the airfield and defaced the military aircraft by spraying red paint directly into its engine, symbolizing the bloodshed in Gaza. The group behind the action, known as Palestine Action, claims the protest was aimed at highlighting what they described as the UK government's complicity in Israel's military operations against Palestinians. Scrutiny personnel have secured the site, and an investigation is underway to assess the damage and how breach it occurred. To end the international story, President Donald Trump has granted a 90-day extension to ByteDance, the Chinese parent company of TikTok, giving the company additional time to sell the popular short-form video platform to a US-based owner. The extension comes amid ongoing national security concerns from the US government, which has argued that TikTok's Chinese ownership could allow sensitive personal data of American users to be accessed by the Chinese government. Originally, ByteDance faced a much shorter deadline to reach an agreement with an American buyer or risk having TikTok banned in the United States. With this new 90-day extension, the company now has more time to negotiate a sale or restructuring deal that satisfies U.S. security requirements and ensures the app can continue operating for millions of American users.
Well, as all of you know, because the president put it out on his Truth Social today, he did sign an executive order to extend the TikTok ban for 90 days. So in the effort to make a deal, and the White House counsel and the Department of Justice have reviewed this executive order, and I can get it for you. I think it's on our website by now. If it's not, my team will now put it up immediately. And you can read the language in that executive order. And the White House counsel's office and the Department of Justice strongly believe in the legal rationale for this executive order. They wouldn't have the president's pen hit it if they didn't. And the political reasoning for this, of course, is because the president made a promise to keep TikTok on. There are 100 million Americans who use this app. It's wildly popular. He also wants to protect Americans' data and privacy concerns on this app, and he believes we can do both things at the same time. So he's making an extension so we can get this deal done.
Before we move on to the entertainment news, you can continue watching the live coverage on Facebook at Big Family Radio, YouTube and TikTok at Big Family Radio and Big Family TV. Reggae dancehall icon Samini has finally addressed the speculation surrounding his recent visit to the Ghana Tourism Authority, GTA office. Speaking on Primetime with George Quay, the award-winning artist firmly dismissed rumors that his visit was linked to securing special treatment or political favors. Samini called out to a minority of critics who, in his view, wrongly interpret every action through a partisan lens and demand blind loyalty to political parties. He stressed that freedom of speech and freedom of association should always take precedence over party fanaticism. If a party no longer aligns with your beliefs, you should have the right to walk away and explain your reasons, he stated. He clarified that his visit was purely professional. He stated that he went to present his project to Abeku Santana and that he did the same with KOD and tried to meet Rexoma as well. He further explained that a miscaptioned social media post by a party foot soldier had exaggerated the purpose of the visit. The post implied he was invited and given a piece of bread as a reward, as if when your party is in power, you share the bread only with supporters. Emphasizing the inclusive mandate of the GTA, Samini reminded the public that the authority exists to serve every Ghanaian, not just political insiders. Tourism is for everyone. Anyone involved in tourism should feel free to walk in and do business. His comments come at a time when debates about politics and the creative industry are intensifying in Ghana. As an outspoken advocate for unity within music, media and tourism, Samini is also preparing to release his highly anticipated 8th studio album, Origin 8A, later this year. By directly addressing the rumors, he reinforced his belief that national institutions like the GTA must remain open, non-partisan spaces that empower all citizens equally. Now to end the news, controversial dancehall star Shatta Wale has come out strongly to defend his name after being linked to a fraudulent activities following the arrest of several Ghanaian nationals by the FBI. Among those arrested was Isaac Kofi Odro Boateng, popularly known as Kofi Boat, who is an associate of the musician. The individuals are accused of being involved in large-scale romance and inheritance scams targeting elderly Americans. In a video shared by Graphic Showbiz, Shatta Wale firmly denied having any connection to fraud, insisting that his success is entirely the result of his dedication to music. He stated point blank that he is a clean boy and that his success is from music. The Kakai hitmaker declared, rejecting all rumors benefiting from illegal schemes. He expressed frustration at what he sees as repeated attempts to drag his name into controversies whenever scandals emerge in Ghana. You people are watching my life, and anytime there is an issue in Ghana, you like to drag me into it. You are making a mistake with my name. I am a very clean boy, he stressed. Shatta Wale suggested that envy within the music industry fuels such rumors, noting that some people can't accept his level of success compared to other artists. He urged his critics to understand that his lavish lifestyle, including his luxury cars, is funded by music earnings and not fraud. One thing the white people coming here do is research. They are not stupid. They saw my Rolls Royce and knew how I got the money to buy it. It's music money, hard work and dedication. So don't make a mistake, he warned his fans and Ghanaian. And the controversy comes as the US Department of Justice announced, in line with World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, a series of indictments against Ghanaian nationals implicated in transnational romance fraud schemes that deceived early victims into paying fictitious taxes and fees for non-existent inheritance and gold. Despite the FBI's arrest of individuals like Joseph Kwejo, Bedu Boaten, known as Dada Joy Remix, and others, Shatawale remains adamant that he has nothing to do with their activities and that his wealth is the fruit of years of hard work in the music industry. To end the news, a recap of the top stories. Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson has called on chiefs to end chieftaincy disputes for peace and development to happen. Chinese Ambassador H.E. Tongdefa says Ghana cannot fully eliminate the illegal mining. In the international news, President Donald Trump to decide within 2 weeks on possible U.S. involvement in Iran and Israel conflict based on reports from the White House. Pro-Palestine activists have breached a UK airbase security and vandalizing a military plane in the protest against Gaza war. In the entertainment news, Samini has condemned political spin on GTA office visits and addressed